This week's episode of Be Hero Fights is brought to you by Pod Jerky Podcast.
Did you know that there are over 1 million podcasts out there and over 30 million episodes? So why should you listen to Pod Jerky? Well, we have a little bit of something for everyone. We discuss topics such as fertility, pet peeves, Netflix reviews, music, conspiracy theories, and everything in between. We will entertain you, make you laugh, and make you cry. Our amazing guests are also sure to put a smile on your face. Tune in every week to Pod Jerky on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. Pod Jerky, bringing you original flavor.
Welcome to Be Hero Fights. I'm Tom.
And I'm Brian.
And we are here to discuss
Or fuss.
over two hotly debated, highly related topics.
Last week, we had the most controversial episode we've had so far of what is Nightmare Before Christmas, a Halloween movie?
Or a Christmas movie.
So, you guys hit us up on Facebook and Twitter and everything else and let us know what your thoughts were. And it was overwhelming. But it was definitely decided, and you guys should definitely listen back to see what our decision was on that.
Yeah, it was a really fun episode. And thanks again, Mike, for showing up and bringing the heat, really just kind of fighting, I said in the episode kind of what my thoughts were going into it, and he really did a phenomenal job.
He did. He came out swinging. So it was definitely a good one. So again, go back and listen to it. But this week, we are going to go a little old school.
Darn right. This week we have, continuing the Christmas theme, because 'tis the season, we have probably the most important debate of our time, of what is the best Christmas movie.
That's right. Is it going to be Lethal Weapon?
Or Die Hard?
Now, this is a little out of the range of what people would think as the best Christmas movies, but we figure, we're guys, and too, that this is a little bit different fight than most people have had as a best Christmas movie. And doing the research on these both, specifically watching these both, I forgot how Christmas-centric these both movies were.
Yeah, they're, most people think of these movies and you think of action, especially because both of them carried on very successful franchises. None of the rest really are quite the same Christmas-centric, And so when you think of Die Hard, you're usually just thinking of the franchise as a whole, but Die Hard 1 is a Christmas movie, and
Lethal Weapon is as well. Lethal Weapon had, again, multiple sequels, but none of them were tied into the Christmas as much as the first one was.
Yeah, nothing quite so on the nose, for sure. And they're both phenomenal movies. I actually really like... I would dare say that if you talk to any action movie critic, someone that just really knows their stuff, these movies are going to be at the top. Two of the top action movies of really all time. So
yeah, I'd agree. I mean, these before watching them again, they were both my favorites, but it's been a minute since I watched them. Mm-hmm. And watching them back just recently for this fight, I was so happy to be able to watch these again. I enjoyed them so much. So it's going to be a fun fight. Yeah,
honestly, I forgot how good they were because, Die Hard 1 is an incredible movie. But, the last few installments in the franchise have just been a show. And every time I think of the franchise as a whole now, that's what I think is, how, disappointing it's become. And so going back, I watched the first Die Hard and the first Lethal Weapon, and it was just such a wonderful experience to be taken back and how surprisingly good those movies are and how well they still hold up today.
Agreed. But before we jump into that, first let's remind you guys to go out and share all of our podcast stuff and our social media stuff by hitting us up on our social medias or sharing through our social medias, such as
Facebook.com/BeHeroMedia, as well as Instagram.com/BeHeroMedia.
You can also find us on Twitter at BeHeroFights or on our website at BeHeroMedia.com.
That's right. Get a hold of us. If you guys have been enjoying the show as much as we've been enjoying putting it out there for you, if you think that you can hold your own in the ring against myself, against Brian, against any of the other guests that we've had, or even now we've been getting some more regulars. If you think you can hold your own in the ring, we want to have you.
Yeah, so hit us up on the Be Hero Media. We actually added just recently a suggestion box where you can apply to be a fighter or a judge, or just simply give us your ideas for an episode or tell us what we got right or wrong.
That's right. Because, we, in the heat of the moment, anyone that's been on the show and tried, like sometimes you just say things that you think is a fact, and then sometimes it's not. And so it's good to be held accountable for when we stray from the straight and narrow.
Why are you looking at me like that, Tom?
Brian. Disney games were on Sega Genesis.
Anyhow, let's go ahead and introduce our judges. Returning, as they have multiple times, we will be having Dani.
Hello, guys.
And Marcos.
Yo, what's up, Be Hero Fighters?
Woo! And to go back to our traditional format of Be Hero Fights, we are actually even going to bring back what we once retired, the coin flip.
Mr. Coin.
I'm here.
So what we're going to do, since the last time that me and Tom specifically had a head-to-head, I won, I'm going to go ahead and say what's what on the coin. And we will have Marcos flip it for us, and we will see which one I'm fighting for, and then subsequently Tom is losing to.
I will cut you.
So let's do heads, Die Hard, and Lethal Weapon, tails.
And the flip. Heads it is.
So I am fighting on behalf of Die Hard.
All right, which means I get Lethal Weapon. Go ahead and kick us off, Brian.
All right. Die Hard is an American action film that originated with Roderick Thorpe's novel Nothing Lasts Forever, which is actually a sequel novel. And all 5 films revolve around the same main character, John McClane, a New York slash it's not really slash LA. He's a New York cop who goes to LA for one of the movies and finds himself in the middle of a bunch of violence. The first one does take place in LA during Christmas at a Christmas party that his estranged wife is at her company at Nakatomi, at specifically the Nakatomi Plaza in Central City. So it was directed by John McTiernan and again starred Bruce Willis as the title character John McClane. You also had Hans Gruber, who was played by the fantastic Alan Rickman, which is actually one of his first American films. Right, it was one of his first American films. And there were so many other great characters in there, but those were the 2 of the big ones. It was one of the summer blockbuster movies. It actually blew up. Nobody thought it was going to do as well as it was going to do.
Yeah.
So, but that's some of the basics. So I'm going to pass over to Tom to get some history about Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon, fantastic action film based in the setting of Christmas. Lethal Weapon came out in 1987. It was directed by Richard Donner. And stars Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, which, we're talking 2 of the greatest actors ever. 2 of my personal favorites. I know Mel Gibson has definitely a checkered life, but every time he is on screen, he sells it. He's an incredible actor. So Lethal Weapon, fantastic movie. So it basically is a buddy cop movie, action movie. It was I think it was written by Shane Black, wasn't it?
Yes.
So these 2 cops in Los Angeles are trying to uncover a mystery of drugs and, typical cop movie. You guys understand. So here's some of the things that really sets Lethal Weapon apart. Lethal Weapon came out before Die Hard. Die Hard was definitely riding on the coattails of Lethal Weapon's success in taking the Christmas theme and bringing in the action element. Except Lethal Weapon did it so much better because Lethal Weapon actually has a Christmas story, a Christmas arc going behind it. One of the beautiful things about Christmas and Christmas traditions is it celebrates new beginnings. So we have our character, played by Mel Gibson, Martin Riggs. And he is struggling from extreme depression, suicidal tendencies, and he's at his wit's end. And it follows him, and through his new partner and his new partner's family, he is able to find new purpose in his life, and get that chance at a new beginning, that fresh new take, that second chapter, that new leaf, you know. And that's something that is so much better articulated in the Lethal Weapon movie versus Die Hard. Die Hard is a fantastic action movie. The best Christmassy part is now I have a machine gun. Ho ho ho. I mean, really, if it wasn't for that, you couldn't even really call it a Christmas movie. It's just got
whatever.
a Christmas tree.
The whole setting is at a Christmas party.
Yeah, but like, you know, Lethal Weapon, the whole soundtrack is Christmas music. There's everything is Christmas centric, and it takes place up until Christmas Day.
All right. Well, Die Hard, along with that, one is considered one of the greatest action movies of all time. Right. Constantly quoted. I mean, it's got its great title line of yippee-ki-yay, you know the rest, because of how good the movie is. Originally, though, interestingly enough, the original actor that was going to play John McClane was the person who played it in the original movie. So there was I mentioned earlier that it was a sequel book. Die Hard is based off of a sequel book. It's actually, there was a movie that was done before that, taking place in New York, and John McClane was played by old Blue Eyes himself, Frank Sinatra, in 76, I think it was. I'd have to look it up to make sure. But he was originally slated to play it, but it felt like he was too old to play the character by the time 1988 came around. And so Bruce Willis, who was only known for a TV series, a comedic sitcom TV series called Moonlighting at the time, was given to it. And
which wasn't he found, like, didn't the director meet him first in a bar? Like, he was obviously
he was a
actor,
bartender in New York.
Like, that's how the director found him. He was like, I really just liked his look or something. And yeah, I'd heard that. I don't know all the facts behind it, but
he was found before the movie started going, and they wanted to cast him on there. He was picked up at that point shortly after to do Moonlighting before the movie started filming, and was gone from there. So he'd already had a year in the Moonlighting, the TV series, before Die Hard came out, but he was only known as a comedic actor, and which I think lends great to how it worked out for him in Die Hard, because Die Hard's hilarious. Some of the great, like I mentioned before, some of the greatest lines, some great movie tropes of the times, like dealing with the hostage negotiations, dealing with switching out the helicopters and things like that. Those were all movie tropes at the times of what the good guys would try to do to take out the terrorists, and that they flipped on its back. Not to mention Alan Rickman. Alan Bloody Rickman is in this movie, and he's fantastic. The bad guy in here, which most of the best movies of all time are movies that have the great villains, right? Hans Gruber, played by Alan Rickman, is one of the greatest villains of all time because he's smart but suave. At some points, you almost want to see him win because of how suave and charming he is, right? You don't get that, though, with Gary Busey's Mr. Joshua. The dude is a psychotic who is pre-motorcycle accident, so he still looks like somewhat good-looking version of Gary Busey, and like The worst, the only thing that like gives him any character is that he's crazy. He lets a guy light his arm on fire, practically. Right? There's no characters about him. He's a one-dimension character.
Well, he's not the main villain though. He's a henchman.
No, he's the main. He's as the henchman. He's still the main villain. He's the one that you're drawn to as the villain.
Well, he's the final one that gets killed. But the main villain, was his boss. I forgot the character's name.
General something.
Yeah. So I see what you're saying there. But here's the thing: like Lethal Weapon, like while you can say that Die Hard, Alan Rickman, much better villain, absolutely. But Lethal Weapon is based more in reality in the sense of like, drug cartels and, involvements with, the reason why that story keeps getting told is because it's actually happening. There is like ex-military and things that are going on that are importing drugs. Like this is not something new. And that's why it's more believable. Whereas like, no, like there's no more Bonnie and Clydes in the world. Okay. And that's really what Alan Rickman is. He's a very, very suave Clyde without a Bonnie. And maybe if he had a Bonnie, then I'd be a little bit more on board, but he doesn't. So Lethal Weapon, it's more believable. And the name Lethal Weapon is talking about Martin Riggs, how the fact that he's great at martial arts and he's an insanely good Deadeye, right? Sniper, good with any gun. Like that's as far-fetched as his character gets. He is more fallible, and yet he is still just a deadly weapon. Because the villains kept him alive as long as they did, they had the chance to take him out, which is more real because, like, Bruce Willis, like, not Bruce Willis, his character.
John McClane?
John McClane. I'm spacing on every important detail right now. So John McClane, one of the problems with him versus Martin Riggs, John McClane, he takes way too much of a beating, an unreal amount of punishment. You can't. No one can take that. Like up until he gets shot in the shoulder towards the very end.
Your dude was shot in the chest with a shotgun and electrocuted.
He was shot in the chest, but he had a bulletproof vest on. There was like, that's going to leave a bruise. That's going to suck. But you're able to get up and keep going. John McClane got shot through the shoulder. He had glass shoved through his feet. Like, first of all, he's not going to be able to walk like he was walking. He's not going to be able to run. He's not going to be able to fight and fist fight. Like everything that he continues to do then on out just gets more and more unrealistic.
You watched that movie today, right? Die Hard?
Yeah.
Then you would have recognized that the glass part, when he steps on that, is within the last 25 minutes of the movie. The only other person he fights at the end of that is the dude where he hangs him, and he's limping the whole way.
Yeah. And
being a pro wrestler, I watch for a lot of these kind of things to see if they're selling stuff as they go through. And he sells that foot the whole way. And then he's limping towards the last two guys he fights, including Alan Rickman. So saying that he has...
But we're talking, like the last 15, 20 minutes when he fights that guy and hangs him with the chain, and he's already been shot through the shoulder. His arm is not going to work, period. But he's using it like nothing happened. Like he's just been jacked up, Like he's just got a shot of adrenaline.
If you look at the shot, because I thought it was through the shoulder too until I noticed it watching this back. It was shot across the arm, so it was
it was in the shoulder. It was in the shoulder blade.
No,
I watched this like 2 hours ago.
You watch it through, and it looks like it hits the shoulder blade, but then you're watching the where they have the thing. It's a grazing shot across his arm. I mean, it's a massive grazing shot across his arm, but it's not through the shoulder. Because I thought the same thing too. I won't lie. I thought that when I saw it happen, like when he goes. So in the scene we're talking about, John McClane goes to duck into a room to get away from the guy. And the dude shoots him with his own gun, mind you. And what it looked like, it was the shoulder because of the way he sold it and the way the blood spatter happened. But from that point on, anytime you ever looked at his shoulder, it was a grazed wound across his arm, by the shoulder area, but wasn't his shoulder directly.
I'm telling you, man, the beating that he takes is unreal. It just is. Like it's people don't get up from that like he does. And honestly, that's the only. I'm not saying this is a bad movie. I'm just saying that like when it comes to a good character, Martin Riggs just has that edge because he's more fallible. And he gets caught. You don't know. I mean, because back in the 80s, like it's always going to end out well for the main character, especially Mel Gibson. But like, he's caught, he's trapped, and he has to use his own cunning and time everything out, and he is able to escape. And he takes a beating, but he doesn't get cut open. He's not bleeding out all over the place. Like, the beating is definitely a much more survivable circumstance. And again, like, it's a better Christmas movie because it has a Christmas arc.
So, one, you mentioned getting shot in the arm. His partner, the main of that movie, played by Danny Glover, Murtaugh, he gets shot in the arm.
Yeah, and he doesn't do crap after that.
He pulls a gun on a guy rushing in with a car, shoots him, and then jumps into an alleyway section and is holding himself up by that arm.
Okay, but he doesn't like UFC wrestle and get his head smashed into stairs and metal bars and kicked in the teeth. Like, yeah, he jumps into an alleyway after shooting a gun. Anyone can do that. That is a lot more reasonable than having a WWE SmackDown with The Rock, after being shot. That's not going to happen.
Again, he doesn't have that impressive of a fight. It's literally them punching and holding, like they're
the German smashing each other through metal beams and banging each other's heads on the concrete.
They're pushing each other around. They don't even like really fall down.
He smashes the back of his head onto concrete, and they headbutt each other like fight. Okay, so Riggs does that too. But
yeah,
you know what? As a judge, just sitting here listening to you guys, like.
This is all action, no Christmas.
This is awesome. Like, I was just like, whoa, man. No, yeah, so, yeah, no, and Danny kind of hit that, like, I was just about to bring that up, like.
Where's the Christmas jingle bells?
Yeah,
man?
like, we're listening to you guys, and you guys are making great points about the movies and, what they're about and the characters and what's believable or not. As far as.
And they're both in L.A. as cops.
Yes. But we're talking. These movies are Christmas tradition because why? Like, as a judge, Danny and I I want you guys to like say this is why you watch this on Christmas.
I will give you the prime example.
Okay, give it to me.
Die Hard is the best Christmas movie. Watch practically any Hallmark movie right now that's at Christmas time, and the theme is the same. Something to the effect, or similar ones. There's one going to be out there that's going to be dude screws up and later on makes up with a woman and has to go through trials, right?
How do you know this?
Because I'm married.
Okay. Just want to make sure that
he actually has a Hallmark subscription. What's wrong with that, Danny?
You make a joke, but I really do because of my wife. She loves that
I don't even watch Hallmark, so I'm really confused here.
By the way, Hallmark, if you want to sponsor, feel free.
So a lot of them will be one of like variant kinds of Christmas movies, but one's almost always guy screwed up in a relationship. Some period of time later, tries to get back with the girl and has to go through trials. Die Hard is that movie. Die Hard specifically is dude screwed up, didn't follow his wife over to LA from New York, goes 6 months toiling through all this drama. They've, in a sense, been a separated marriage. He comes over because he's thinking that she's reaching out and he's trying to make up for it. She's not really reaching out. She only just barely finds out that he was even planning on coming. You find out later that it was her boss that was the one that pushed for this. So they have a moment when he's washing up right at the beginning of the movie when he's cleaning up. And she's like, oh, and I missed you, yada, yada. And the first thing he does is go on for full-on jerk mode and be like, if you miss me, why'd you take away, or why'd you stop using my name, and yada yada, right? And then she gets like, they have a fight. She gets all pissed off, and she leaves, and he's like, why did I do that? I'm an idiot. And the rest of the movie is literally his trial to get back to the woman he loves, to be like, I love you. I want to spend Christmas with you and have our family together for Christmas. All of this is through there. Not to mention, there are Christmas bits in there, like Tom mentioned earlier about the ho, ho, ho with the machine gun. He uses wrapping tape that says Merry Christmas on it to keep a gun on his back to kill Alan Rickman with. Okay? And then really quick side tangent before I forget it. The scene with Alan Rickman where he falls off the building. Okay? It's blue screened. He was only about 15 feet above a pad. But Alan Rickman was terrified of heights. And so what the director did is he told him he would drop him at 3. And that instant look of terror you see on Alan Rickman's face when he drops is them dropping him on 2.
That's so weird.
That's awesome.
So, side tangent. But that tells you what kind of Christmas movie this is. It is the very traditional aspect of guy goes through redemption to try to get back with the woman he loves on Christmas in the genre of an action movie.
You know what? Like, I understand that. Lethal Weapon hits those notes, but it hits it in a relatable way for an entirely different audience. Because, not everyone is trying to win back their spouse. Okay. Some people have lost a loved one. Whether it's a child or their spouse or someone else, and so that can make holiday seasons very, very difficult. And so here we have this guy who lost his wife in a car accident, and he doesn't have a reason to live anymore. He's lost everything that he has. And so now he has this chance at redemption through a surrogate family, through his partner. And so he is able to be a positive role model for his partner's children, and he's able to find new hope, new meaning of life. And if that's not like the ultimate pinnacle of a Christmas story, like that really anyone can relate to. Because there are lots of people that are in wonderful relationships, or there's lots of people that maybe their relationship wasn't worth saving. Mine. And
This is not therapy.
The hell it's not. What did you think we started the podcast?
Not that type of therapy.
But I guess what I'm saying is the Die Hard story, I guess that is a Christmas story, but it's so generic. And it's told through the action, the action set piece makes it what it is. But you said it yourself. It's done it a million times in every Hallmark Christmas special. Whereas Lethal Weapon is still the Christmas theme, but it's so much more impactful because it's not the same generic story. And it's a more timeless tale that's going to be applicable to everyone. My sister, for example, lost a child that was 3 months old. Holidays are a very difficult time for her. That story of being able to find new meaning through other people is relevant.
That's not fair. You can't bring in dead kids because now I have no good argument against that. But no, you say that it's not original. It's a story that's been told a bunch of times. That was the original.
That was your argument.
No, I'm saying that it's a very common story now. But you would see that as a Christmas story. But you're saying that it's lesser than because it's been told so many times. Was the kind of the original one to do so. If you think back on it, there was no real Hallmark channel back then in 88. So there wasn't one
fact check that. Someone please fact check. Was there a Hallmark channel in 88?
We're fact checking.
While you do so, and then you go off and you have the same stories being told for the exactly same thing. In fact, The Simpsons did this exact same episode, this sort of story in an episode where, yes?
2001.
See, told you. Mo Sizlak is planning on killing himself repeatedly through the holiday season, and the one that always brings him back is Homer and his family's the connection with his family, right? Mo has had loss and has suicidal tendencies, exactly the same. So you can't use that
and
argument.
Mo got it from Lethal Weapon, and Die Hard got the Christmas setting for an action movie from Lethal Weapon.
Die Hard
was 88 and Lethal Weapon's 87.
They came out, shortly after. But that doesn't mean that they came from the same place. The original story took place during there, and that was in 79. Because this is based off a book, son.
I don't have a rebuttal for that, but Lethal Weapon still did it first for those that don't read.
That'd be me.
And me. If it ain't got more pictures than words, I'm out.
But with all of that being said, these both are fantastic movies. I believe they are both two of the best Christmas movies, especially now watching them again. So let's see what the judges have to say.
Or do you need any final thoughts?
You know what? I do need final thoughts. Right now, you guys are, going at it, and I'm loving it. Continue to go at it, please. But yes, no, I need final thoughts, and that way I can kind of determine what the deal breaker is going to be. Because I mean, right now, like you guys are going at it right now, and I'm not going to say who's in the lead because I don't want to, But
well, we can go on the same points we talked about already.
Correct. Yeah, let's switch it up a little bit.
Why don't you tell us what you would like us to talk about? Like, what questions do you have for us about these movies?
So, I know all the details. You guys, were fantastic about. Go ahead, Danny, if you have something.
I want to know how many Christmas trees are in each movie. Sorry.
There's more in Lethal Weapon.
Okay.
There is
you.
because there's multiple locations.
Thank you.
So
that was a good question for me.
As far as me, I mean, you guys did such a good job, as far as the history on both movies and the characters who are playing in both movies. But and then after we talked about why they're tie-in to Christmas, you guys both answered those. Now, your final thoughts. I want you guys to kind of tell me what separates both of them, and so what separates them?
What sells it at the end of the movie?
To make it so that I'm with my family or just watching it during Christmas and the holidays.
I think I don't know that I have a whole lot more to say about that, just because I feel at this point I'll be repeating myself with the themes of redemption for Riggs, and not even just that, his partner has to learn to trust again. He hasn't had a partner in a long time. He doesn't like working with partners, so it is more than just the one character. He has to learn to trust again. And not even just trusting his partner, he has to learn to trust his daughter, who's growing as a woman. He has to. They both go on that journey, whatever. They both end up having to work together to save his daughter, and to save his family. And what is born of that? I really don't see a more perfect Christmas story of love and affection and redemption. Die Hard is a wonderful movie. And honestly, I'm not going to sit here and say anything against what it is. I think I've already talked about the only point that I held against it. But I just think that Lethal Weapon hits the Christmas notes better. It's a little more on the nose. But I think because of that, it's going to be better, to introduce to your adolescent children. I don't think either of them are appropriate for young children.
No. But that being said, Die Hard is a little more family friendly than Lethal Weapon.
What?
Yes.
There's got way more bombs.
Hey, Tom, I need you to just be quiet because it's his turn. Okay.
And to be fair,
We'll
the
put
swear he
mute on the
uses,
mics.
the swear he uses, and I counted it because it just kept bothering me. He says Jesus Christ 42 times. Okay, or some variation of
You
Jesus
really
Christ.
counted it?
I did because it was really bothering me.
You didn't count the Christmas trees.
There's only one Christmas tree in there.
Oh, okay.
I know
You
how
didn't
many's
say
in
that.
there. I just said there would be more in Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon, though, there's a reason why that one still plays on TBS, especially around this time of the year. There's also a reason why it's known as the movie, the Christmas movie.
Lethal Weapon or Die Hard?
Die Hard. Sorry, Die Hard. Die Hard. There's a reason why Die Hard's played more on TBS and those things, even though they're TV edited. There, slight editing, you can make that movie somewhat family friendly. You can also say that movie, as it's been said, is the best Christmas movie of all time. There's a reason that one's slated as such in popular culture relative to Lethal Weapon, because it is. It has a better redemption story than some guy like, oh, I want to kill myself. Oh, I guess I'll find a reason not to.
Let's not make light of that.
And then, but you have this guy here who learns that he totally wrecked his marriage and he's being a total jerk, and he learns what he can do to make it better. In the process, he goes off and has a bunch of awesome kills and takes out Alan Rickman. So, and again, Alan Rickman.
Yeah, but he doesn't actually do anything to make anything up to his wife, other than like, oh, by the way, terrorists are holding you hostage. I guess I'll save you. Whatever.
Oh, that's rough.
The other part to it too is that movie, even though like straight, you can watch now and not have any weirdness to it. Where you watch Lethal Weapon, it is definitely a movie of its time.
What do you
I
mean
would
by
dare
that? It's
I
been
would
a
dare
long
say
time.
that there are themes in Die Hard, especially with the political culture around police brutality, that are dated.
Yeah, but a white. Oh, yeah, I'm not gonna make that joke.
All right.
But-
Are you good? You have more thoughts?
I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, again, the popular culture recognizes Die Hard as the best Christmas movie, and that's really it. That's all I have to say.
Are there reindeers in either of these movies?
They're reindeer in both.
Okay. It's just been a really long time since I've seen either. Just making I gotta make my judgment.
Or at
here,
least somebody
guys.
dressed up as a reindeer, has reindeer horns on, something of that effect.
And there's tinsel.
There's things.
Yeah.
Yes. There's decorations.
I'm making it be
I mean, they're
Christmassy.
both very Christmas themed. Like
So-
you can tell
I'm
it's
kidding.
Christmas.
So
I'm
let me
kidding.
let me ask you guys both real quick. What if Danny and I choose differently? Has that ever happened in the show before?
Well, we've not usually had two judges before, but we will have to.
I'm gonna do my thoughts, and I'm still thinking. I don't think I have a winner.
So what we'll
Sorry.
do is we will set a head judge then over one. So one judge can give their opinions, but then it's the head judge overall.
Okay, you can be the head judge.
Okay. So Marcos is the head judge.
So
Sounds
I'll
good.
say my thoughts first.
Yes.
All right.
Go for
You
it.
guys say some very non-Christmassy things about these Christmas movies. So Brian, the gun with the Merry Christmas tape
The tape
on
yes.
it, that's really awesome.
Yeah. Tape's on his
And
back, like right up here.
yeah. So I really like that, and how you say it's like the classic Hallmark movie. I don't like those types of movies. I hate I hate Christmas movies and I hate Hallmark movies, but I can see where you say this is the best Christmas movie because that fits in both those categories.
But you would
To a
probably
T.
like those movies better if they had guns in it.
So I probably haven't seen either of these movies since like junior high, so I probably would love it, and I'd probably be like, yes, I love Christmas now, and I like there's only two appropriate dates for anything related to Christmas, and that's Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So don't play your music before Christmas Eve, please.
Agreed.
Tom, with how you're saying he's got to like get back in and because he lost his wife and to find this family and find the nurturing things that he needs with his family and that's just like I don't know, I think that really does hit home because Christmas is about family and those traditions and losing your wife, and I can see how you just like lose all that, so you got to go find something of the comfort and the memories of tradition and Christmas. So both good points. Yeah, we'll leave it up to Marcos.
Oh man, the pressure's on me. Holy moly. You know what, you guys, it was an excellent debate, and it's so difficult to like judge this fight, especially because being a kind of an action movie type of guy, growing up no matter what, both of these movies you can both put them on, and watch them and have a good time. And you're right, Brian, you're right as far as you can turn on, your guide on your TV right now, whether it's whatever whatever it is that you're using, and you're probably going to see Die Hard right now, showing on that. And I think that's, that's what kind of makes it a Christmas movie. Like if you're watching, if you're just kind of going through and hey, what are we going to watch as families gathered around, and Die Hard does seem to pop up quite a bit, so that I kind of like that. And Danny's brought a lot of good points that I, jotted down as I was listening and judging. And Tom, man, that whole family thing kind of hits. It's just one of those hard things. And when you brought that up, I looked at Brian and I was just like, how are you going to debate that, man? And his reaction was perfect. Like, really? Did you just really use that against me? Like, come on, man. Like, for real, bro? Shoot. So, and it was very, very difficult to come up with the final verdict, but I do have one, and I'm gonna go with Brian. I think that.
Come on.
That's what I was gonna go with.
Yeah.
Just
hold
because
on.
of the tape.
Hold up. It's not just because of the
Here's
tape.
your
Danny.
$20.
You know what? No, and honestly, like I said, you guys were fantastic. From when I first started listening to this podcast, and the fights that you guys have had, and now you guys had guest fighters and stuff like that. It's been a while since I've actually heard both of you guys go at it again, and
Yeah.
it was awesome to finally, like, both of you guys go back at it and sit back and said, okay, yeah, this is why I like this podcast, because you guys were both like just it was like a heavyweight fight, you guys were both hitting each other with back and forth. It was
calling
great.
us fat?
Hey,
He still has to go skiing, don't worry.
but
I'm fit-ish.
I gave it to Brian, and I just feel that Die Hard, no matter what you do, you can bring it up no matter what. Most people will recognize Die Hard more as a Christmas time movie than they will Lethal Weapon. Not saying that Lethal Weapon's not a great movie, and the facts that all the points that you made were great, and you fought a hard fight, but Die Hard to me and all the points that Brian made were
You lose.
Yeah. Made you get mopped up.
Oh, which is kind of sad.
Barely though.
I love Lethal Weapon, and watching it back again, I forgot how much I loved it. I also counted on that one, and I texted this to Tom when I was watching it last night. There are 12 different times when they verbally say something to the effect of Christmas or Merry Christmas in Lethal Weapon, and then there are at least another 12 times that they like have some visual aid, like someone's painting Christmas trees on a window, or they have like Scrooge playing in the background or something like that.
I thought about bringing those points up, and I was like, nah, I can't use
Yeah.
what Brian texted me in private
Oh, that's
against
funny.
him.
You should have.
You totally should have, man. Come
I
on,
won.
man.
It crossed my mind.
Hey, this
but
is a B-hero fight, man. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do.
But yeah, like I won't lie, I was I love Die Hard too, but I was kind of hoping the fight on the part of Lethal Weapon, because I had forgotten how much I loved that movie. It was one of my mom's favorite movies too, because she was all about Mel Gibson back in the day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, Mel Gibson's a phenomenal actor. And like, I actually had never seen Lethal Weapon until today. Like, I knew about the franchise. I think I'd seen 4 or something. Like, I'd seen one of them, but I hadn't seen the first one. Maybe it wasn't 4th. I don't know. I've seen one of the sequels, anyways.
They're always on, so you probably did see one of them.
right.
Yeah, but yeah. So it was my first time watching it, and I was actually like, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. 80s action films are definitely a hit and miss for me. Like, some of them are amazing. True Lies.
That was 90s.
Incredible. Oh, is it?
Yes.
Ah, well, my bad.
95, I think.
Well, I guess 80s action films for me have just always been more of a miss than a hit, I guess. But
You should totally watch Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger, though.
Or the Terminator.
Right? Can't go wrong with Terminator.
oh, I love Terminator.
But one thing that, I was surprised you didn't bring up is Lethal Weapon actually was what created the two cops, like the bro cops genre.
Buddy cop.
Yeah, the buddy cop. There's the one. The buddy cop genre. That movie created that.
Yeah.
There wasn't movies beforehand that was really like a buddy cop thing. I mean, they had a couple of TV series like Dragnet and stuff, but there wasn't movies, especially ones that were Odd Couple-esque like that.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised you didn't bring that up.
My bad. I mean, I brought up that it was a buddy cop movie, but actually, I didn't know that it was the one that started it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of the originals as far as that goes.
It's
Also-
because they're older. They're old.
Yeah, well,
They
and
know
it was
these
my
things.
first time watching it. So.
Speaking of those Arnold Schwarzenegger bad 80s movies, the director, Shane Black, Lethal Weapon, or the writer, the first movie he ever wrote was Lethal Weapon. And he was as an actor in Predator.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. He also Richard Donner.
And first of all, that is not a bad 80s movie. You take that back. Predator's amazing.
I love Predator.
Richard Donner was also an 80s director, or late 70s, early 80s, specifically Superman 1 and Superman 2.
That's true.
So these are things you could have brought up, son.
Look, I tried to keep it on just Christmas.
But that was a great fight. I mean, these are both great movies, and I won't lie, I'm kind of glad that Die Hard got to keep its Christmas supremacy.
Yeah, I guess we probably would be kicked out of geekdom if we'd have let Lethal Weapon win. But.
Right.
That's why I was the judge. And Danny.
And
just so
Danny.
you guys know.
Sure.
Yeah. But let us know what you guys think, what we got right, what we got wrong. If you guys think that there was a better Christmas movie out there, you'd be wrong. But if you think there was a better Christmas movie out there, let us know by hitting us up on our socials.
Yeah. Facebook.com/BeHeroMedia, Instagram.com/BeHeroMedia.
On Twitter at BeHeroFights. And of course, you can always go to our website at BeHeroMedia.com.
Exactly. So definitely, again, share with your family, with your friends. Help us get the word out there. We're having a great time. We hope you guys are too. Yeah.
And as always,
Fight on.
Did you know that there are over 1 million podcasts out there and over 30 million episodes? So why should you listen to Pod Jerky? Well, we have a little bit of something for everyone. We discuss topics such as fertility, pet peeves, Netflix reviews, music, conspiracy theories, and everything in between. We will entertain you, make you laugh, and make you cry. Our amazing guests are also sure to put a smile on your face. Tune in every week to Pod Jerky on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. Pod Jerky, bringing you original flavor.
Welcome to Be Hero Fights.